Welcome to the Christmas Lady. I have gone on and traced mine on here, but what you're going to do is you're going to have a tracer with a piece of graphite paper. So you're going to take your graphite paper and you're going to lay it down, and then you're going to put your tracer here and tape it. You want the right hand side to match. It's going to be a little bit larger. So right hand side to match right up at the top. And then you can take a pencil, a pen, or a stylus, and you're going to draw over this. I want you to do that first before we start painting. Try to keep your hands out of this area, all of this area. Put your hands in here to do your tracing so that you don't get black all over everything. Okay. So once you have your lady traced, because these are going to be darker colors and we want to make sure that we don't get them where her face is, because we don't need to have to fight with blues and all of that. So this is where you can just almost be sloppy. We're starting out with uniform blue, and I'm just going to flap that on. Like this. And just kind of get it sort of like this. And I'm going to just cover that up right there. And then with the paint still on my my brush, I'm going to come over and pick up some white. And I'm going to come over here and make this the lighter color. Now, as you see, I'm just kind of flopping this on. You don't want to be smooth with it. This is almost like a patchwork. So get these in right up to your edge. We're going to come back with another color, but I'm just going to go on and do this. I'm going to grab a little bit of this white, come in here, just making I like that. Okay. We can always come back and add some white or some blue. I'd like to keep this pretty light over on this side. Let me just draw that line right there. So far we've used the blue and the white making it lighter. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab some violet pansy, still keeping everything on my brush. My brush was dry when I started. So I'm going to put in some pansy right in here. And I'm flip-flopping with my brush. And I'm going to just wipe off all of this blue in here. Get a little bit more of the pansy, not much. And I'm just going to, just kind of put it in here. Want to make sure you've got all your edges, taken care of there. And I'm just throwing that in. Now I'm going to wipe my brush and I'm going to come in with Cardinal Red. And I'm just going to add it right in there. And I'll probably come back with some more because I'm going to want this to have more of a pop of red. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to come in right in here with the darker blue just because I want like a little shadow going on there. Just a little bit. And then right here. And then I'm going to get some turquoise. Now, keep in mind, you can do any color you want. You do not have to do your background and everything like mine. You don't. So I'm going to come back in with some white in here. Make it a little bit more, just a lighter shade. This is just what the colors I'm using, but you can use whatever you want. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go over that a little bit. Letting that be a little bit darker. Let me grab a little bit more of that blue because we're just needing a little shading right there. Okay. I'm going to wipe my brush. I'm going to come in with some red right in here. And I'm going to go right into that blue to give us a new color. Just kind of doing your little flip-flop. That red and blue made its own purple. And if you want, put a touch of white in there. Just whatever you like. I kind of like for mine to, just kind of go from one color to the next, just kind of fading in. So I'm just kind of blending in so that you really don't see a whole bunch of brush strokes. And I'm going to come in with some white. Still, I have never I'm not rinsed my brush. Get some purple on top of my white. And I'm going to see if I can get these two colors to just kind of blend in together.
No food.
What do you want? Okay, so I'm just kind of blending those in. I'm going to wipe my brush really good. And then I'm going to take some white. Something to show you this on. Well, I'll just do it on here. And I'm going to just do this. And what I'm doing is I'm taking out the excess color. So just taking out the excess color and leaving more white in there. So now I'm going to go back and just touch my white. All right, I'm going to wipe my brush, and then I'm just going to come in and start blending. Just going back and forth. I'm making sure that I've got paint in all of the weave because I don't like to see the weave. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add some red in here. Just blending it in. See, there was some little weave right there, so I just threw in this red right on top of it. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and let's go over to the other side, and we're going to make this pretty dark over here. So I'm taking the dark blue, still had the red on my brush, it doesn't matter, it's not going to show, and I'm going to come in here with this. Let me get some red in here. I'm going to put the red and the blue together. Gives it a pretty color. Add a little bit more red. Okay, so we've got the red and the blue. I just add a little bit right in there. I'm going to wipe my brush really good, and I'm going to come back and grab in some of this purple. And I want to just add just kind of blend it in places. So like I'm going to bring it up into there. But I'm going to leave that little spot. I think that's kind of cool. And then I'm going to wipe my brush really good. Get some white. Kind of wipe out the white so that it takes the excess out of my paint. And I'm going to come over here. And some aqua. So like I said, this is your preference to what colors you would like to use. You can use any color you want. Okay. I kind of like that turquoise in there. I'll put a little bit right here too. It is all up to what you want. And I just happen to love turquoise and aqua. So I'm just adding that in there. And I'm going to get some more purple. There's a touch of blue in there, which is just fine. Wipe out my brush, get some more white, and come in here. And we'll just kind of blend in these colors. Okay, and come back with some red, because I have red here. So just be creative. This is where you don't have to watch me, just have a ball. Okay, so I think right now pretty much we have our background done. And we should go ahead and do the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sponge brush I'm going to rinse out my brush. So get you some water. I haven't got water. Now you could use any brush you want to do your background. So if you have a larger brush that you want to use, go for it. This that I used was a number 10, which everybody gets if they're getting a kit, they're going to get that. So I'm going to try to work on this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the aqua and just a touch of white. And I'm going to come over here. Now you could just make a one solid if you want, which would be just fine. And so I'm going to take this aqua and I'm actually just going to come down the side. Let me go that far. Now I'm going to get some purple. And I'm going to add a little bit of purple here. And turn my brush over and just kind of work it in. You can do whatever you want. I think, just kind of giving it a little bit of touch of color of everything looks pretty cool. So look at this, how cool this looks. The reason I like using a sponge brush for this is because you don't, well, I did right there, but you don't get a bunch of mess there. Now, this is pretty much dark, so I'm going to go into my dark blue. And with the color still on, I'm just coming in. And then we just have this one side to do, and I'm going to do it blue with a little bit of red. So let's see how this goes. This is where you can come back with your brush, and if you want, you can, do whatever you want. Like I want a little bit more blue over here. Okay. So there we have it. It's all painted over, and I'm going to look and see. Like I've got a little spot there I don't like. And I'm just so funny about these white spots. So coming over here, just kind of getting those in there. And I think we're good. All right, so we have it's done. That part is done. So I'm going to rinse out my brush finally. And I'm going to still take the number 10, and we're going to do the hat. No, we're going to do the face. Let's do the face, and then we'll do the hat. I think it'd be easier in case you make a mistake. Okay, this is a number 2 flat. In the subscription boxes, you have I think a number 2 filbert. So you can use either one of those. I just am out of them. They're all in boxes. So I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use some French vanilla, some Deco Art warm beige, some Deco Art fawn. So I'm going to start over here on this side. This is going to be the light side. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the French vanilla right in here. And hopefully be able to cover up these lines. So this is probably going to take a couple of coats on this. So I'm just going to bring this right up. Don't worry about it, I'll get it when it dries. Okay, so while that is doing its thing, I'm going to come in here with, I'm going to wipe my brush. Then I'm going to come in and get the warm beige. All of this is going to take another coat. And then I'm going to come in with even darker, the fawn. And I'm going to put fawn in here. Then I'm going to kind of wipe my brush and come back with this color just to kind of blend them in together. And I'm going to go ahead and dry this so that I can get the second coat on. Okay, so I'm coming back in with the first color. Okay. Then I'm just going to wipe my brush just a touch, and I'm going to come back in with this next color. And once we get this in, then we'll come back and we'll blend these colors together. So I'm wipe my brush, just one little flick, and then I'm going to start coming in like this, bringing that darker over so that it just all just kind of goes together. Now let's get this other one, which is the fawn, and we're going to put it on this side. And I'm just kind of pulling it over into the other one. And I think I'll wipe my brush, get a little bit of the warm beige, put that in there so that it just all, I'm bringing the warm beige over into the fawn. Just getting them to blend together. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the French vanilla right here again. Really want to get that to cover well. And then just kind of blend them in. And I may just take some more of this, of the French vanilla, and just a little bit, and put it in here. It'll still be darker, but it won't be so pink. And I'm just going to kind of zigzag a little bit, trying to blend all these colors. See, I'm going into the darker one, but yet it's still dark. Okay. I'll come back right here. Just don't want that pencil line to show. Lighten that up a little bit right there. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of the fawn and the warm beige, and I'm going to come up under her neck right here. I'm going to bring this over. Kind of past my line, but that's okay because hair is going to go there. All right, now I want to take a little bit of the warm beige, no, the fawn, excuse me. And I'm coming in right there. Just let that dry a little bit. Hang on. Okay, this is the fawn. We need it to be closer to her chin right there. And I'm also going to touch, literally touch the burnt umber. And I'm just going to go like that, wipe off my brush, and then I want to bring it in and blend it in. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with some white and some of the what was that? French vanilla. And this is going to be a reflection. It just goes all the way down. So I've got that on there. Now I'm going to wipe off my brush and I'm going to try to just kind of get it to blend in to almost like a dry brush. And then I'm going to put a little bit of that color we've been using on her face right there, just to give that reflection. And also come back. I still had that color on my brush, so it's kind of lightened it up a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to let that just kind of dry, and let's go on and do her arm. So I'm going to mix up some of the fawn and the warm beige, like a 50-50. Just mix it up. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to put it right in here. Now, if you wanted to use your 10 for this, you could. I'm just going to continue on with this brush. I should have mixed up some more. I need more. So let me just do that. I'm going to mix it up some more. And then I'm going to come back over this. I'm just going to go on and paint it in here. And then I'm going to add my shading after I put this in. Then I'm going to take a touch of the burnt umber with the color that we just mixed up. And I'm going to come right in here. I think I got that dark enough. Okay, got that. And then right here, put it there. Light my brush. Come back and get some of this color. And then I'm just kind of pulling in that burnt umber right there so that we have that shadow on there. And then I'm going to come over on this side and just kind of fill in her skin. And we'll line this up in a minute. I'm going to add some of that burnt umber into this back part right here. Okay. This is going to be covered with hair right here, so I'm not really having to worry about that. But I do want to come in with just a bit of the burnt umber right in here. I'll wipe off my brush. I just have a tad on there. So I'm just kind of blending this in. And you can take a little squirt of water if your brush gets a little dry. Okay. Now we need to shade this because it is highlighted. So I'm going to take some of the French vanilla and some white, and I'm just going to go over here on her shoulder, right in here. Still leave some in there. Wipe my brush. And I'm going to go pat, pat, pat right here. Pat, 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 pat. Just pat it in. And then we're going to just a little bit of pat, pat right here. Just right in there. All right, let me come back with my colors here because they're not quite blended together very well. So you can just come back after you've put in that real light shade and just blend it in. So I'm just getting it, as you can see, it just kind of blends together when you come back with the other color. Okay. All right. So I want to come in, I'm going to rinse my brush. In fact, I'm going to get my other brush, my tin. And I'm going to come back and get some red. And I want to, probably should have done a small one. This is her dress. Get my liner brush here. Okay, so there is her dress. I just want to make sure that it is completely there. Okay. Now let's start on her hat. So we're going to take the red. I'm going to just plop in some red right here. And we're going to darken it. Let's just get this in here. I'm telling you, she is so much fun to paint. I hope you enjoy painting her. And when we get all the goodies on her, oh man, she is just so cool. Okay, so now I'm going to come back with my blue, and I'm going to just put right in here. Some of that blue. I'm going to wipe my brush, and then I'm going to come back in and go pat, pat, pat. Make sure you got your hat good and straight. Pat, pat, pat. Just blending in some of the darker color to give the hat the shading. Right through there. So I'm just going pat, pat, pat. Okay, I'm going to wipe my brush and I'm going to get some of the purple. Just a little bit. And I want to do a little pat, pat, pat here with the purple too. Kind of on the blue along with the red. Okay. Now I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm still using my tin. And I'm going to come in with some white and just a touch of the purple right in here. And I'm also going to go touch my red. And I'm just touching the very, very tips of the red. And I'm just swishing it over here. Now I'm going to wipe it. And I'm going to go pat, pat, pat. Let's get that kind of blended in. See how that just blends right in? Just blends right in. Okay. Now we're going to let that dry. And then we'll come back to that. So right now I'm going to come in with my blue and some red. So I've got blue and red on here. And I'm going to okay. With this, the blue still on my brush, I'm going to come in with some red. And I'm going to come all the way here with my hat. Right there. Can't do it that way. So this is the top of the hat right here. So we're going to put our first layer, excuse me, put our first layer on. There's a little blue on my brush, so that's okay. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of the purple, just a little bit, and I'm going to come in. I've still got the red, I still have the blue. I'm just going to come in with those colors, kind of blending them in, pat, pat, pat. Okay, let's see. I'm going to bring in some more of the red right here. We may have to do some touch up in here. Touching that with the white, and I'm coming in right there. All right. Now we've got to do the bottom of the hat, and that's going to be pretty dark. So I'm going to come in with the blue right here. Then I'm going to come in and touch the red, bringing in some of that red right in here. Wipe that blue out and get some red. And I'm just going to kind of go like that with that. And then when that dries, we're going to come back in with white. Okay, so we got that side done. We're going to come in here next to her face, and we're just going to put a little bit of this darker right here. Then I'm going to rinse my brush, because this is going to be lighter over here. So I'm going to come in with some white And I still have a little pink in my brush. So I'm going to put the white on here first. Then I'm going to come in with a touch, just a touch. I just barely touched the burnt umber. And I'm going to start right there at her face. And I'm going to pull it out. Need a little bit more. And I'm going to bring it all the way to that corner. And then I'm going to wipe my brush real good, and I'm going to put some white and red together and mix it to make pink. So now I have a little pink, and I'm just going to come right in here, and I'm going to bring that pink into the brown. We're going to have some hair going here too. So, and we still have more lines and everything to do. So as you can see, our red is still very showing. So I'm just going to come back in here, and I am going to just add more red. If you use thick body paint, which I wish I had done now, you wouldn't have to do this. So Master's Touch makes a thick body paint. That's really good. Now I'm going to just touch the blue, and I'm going to just, bring in some streaks. Looks like I have got some red on her face. I can fix that. I can fix that. Okay, so I'm just kind of coming here, smoothing out that blue that was right there, because we don't want a definite line. It's all about blending. All right, so we're going to let that dry a second. And I'm going to come back with a little bit of that blue and a little bit of that red. And I'm just going to kind of come in here, making that color a little bit stronger. So I'm just kind of pulling it in here. Okay, so now wiping my brush really good, and I want to get some of that red, and I want to get that in there. Okay, so let's do a little tap, tap, tap. We want it to just kind of be a abstract. That is much better. That is much better. Can't handle those little white spots. All right, so we've got that much done. Now let's go in and let's, in fact, I'm going to just touch it right here. I'm going to finish this off right here. I think it needs a little bit more in there. Okay, now I'm going to definitely rinse my brush, and I'm going to come in with my smaller one again. And I'm going to wipe it dry, and I'm going to get some gold. Now you can use a heavy body gold. You can use, I'm going to use this treasure gold, but you don't have to use treasure gold. Treasure gold is just a brilliant, brilliant gold. And we're going to put gold and silver beads on top of this. So okay. Now, you don't really have to worry about putting a second coat here because the beads are going to cover it completely. All right, I'm going to rinse my brush and we're going to do her lips. Now I have a liner brush that you have. Let me find. I actually like to use this pen, Taotree. It is a metallic pen. Looks like an ink pen. Excuse me. So let's see how this goes. You can use paint, and you will need to use your liner brush. I have done this with paint before, and I've done it with this pen. And then I'm going to take a one of these other little liner pens. You can do this again with a pencil. Let's see, you probably have the other pencil. You can take it and just barely touch it, and then come back with your, oops, that was wet. Come back with your liner brush. And you're just wanting to very faintly get that in there. Let me see if I can get this one back again. I just put a little line and then I go back and forth and I got into the red lipstick. I will fix that. Okay, so that needs to dry. So in the meantime, let's work on her hair. So you can take your number 10 brush, and I like to put in some dark streaks. So I'm going into the burnt umber and come right in here. And then I'm brushing down like this. Leaving plenty of space there. And then I'm going to do the same thing right here. And I'm going to bring her hair down here. And then kind of go around her face with the brown. Okay. Okay. So I want to put a little bit more brown in here. And I'm going to bring some over on her shoulder. Okay, so let's take our liner brush. If you have a wisp brush, use it. This is where I love to use it. And so I'm going to add some buttercream by Folk Art, some Daybreak by Folk Art, and we're going to use some white as well. So I'm going to put some of the lighter shade, and I'm just going to start making little wisps with her hair, for her hair. I'm going to just kind of come up in here. You probably can take your number 10. Let me get that going. And I'm gonna kind of go sideways like this. And then I'm going to go into my more yellow, and I'm going to pop in some, let it come out a little bit. Okay, and then we'll come in here with a little white. Adding, just some highlights in here. We're going to add some gold too. Okay, so I'm going to throw in a little bit of the blonde, but not much because she is in a shadow right here. So this is a little bit of white. Right in here. And then come in with this yellow. Put a little bit more dark right there. So we're just going to blend this right out here. Pretty much getting close. Right, so I want to put some gold in her hair, and I'm going to use some glitter paint. This is by Craft Smart glitter paint. This one's champagne. You can use whatever color you want. I just happened to pick this one up. So what I really like to do with this is I like to let it dry out. So if you think about it, go on and put some in and let it dry out, because what this is doing, it gives it more little glitter. But what this is doing is it's putting like gold threads in her hair. Isn't that pretty? And I'll just pull it from right there. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to just clean it up, and we have some outlining to do before we start putting on the glass and everything. So I'm going to rinse my brush. Well, I probably could put a little bit over here. Hold on a minute. Let's see. One color. So throw a few little gold threads right in there. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of wet my brush. My brush is wet. I put a little red on it, put a little blue on it. And I'm just coming in here and right in here. We've got some little of those little white spots showing, so I can't handle them. They just drive me nuts. So we're gonna put some blue in there too, the purple, and we're gonna come right up to there. And I'm just gonna tap it in. And I'm just kind of, because I've got a little bit of water on my brush, it helps it to go in. So I'm just touching. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to line our hat. And also we want to put some white in here. Now, if you have a whisk brush, which I love to use in hair, you can use that. If you don't, use the side of your brush. I'm going to use the whisk, and I'm going to put it in some water, and then I'm going to touch the white, and I'm going to just put some white streaks in here. And then we're going to come over here, put in some more. Like that. Put in a little bit here. And then down here, you want to, like I said, you can use your regular brush for this. I'm just doing this. Bringing in some white in there. And then right here, a little bit of white. So you're good with this. How do you like that? Do you like that? I want to take some of this red right here, and I want to kind of, you can do this with your regular brush. Make sure my red really stands out over here. So I'm just adding a little bit more red. Okay. So let's take your liner pen. If you have a gray one already, that's perfect. If you have the brown one, that's perfect. It doesn't matter which one you use. So I'm going to come in, and I want to make sure this stays nice and smooth. And then we're going to come around her lips. And what I want to do here is I want to take that and I want to smudge it a little bit and bring it down below her lip right here. And then I'm going to just come in here. You can actually use a micron brush. And I'm just wanting to make sure it's nice and smooth. That one really isn't thick enough. Let's see here. Let's try this one. This is a 1.5. So I'm just kind of making some lines in here. And then if you want, you can take that with a brush and just smear that in. Get it a little wet, wipe it off. Isn't that pretty? Just softens it up. You don't want it, harsh looking. So I'm keeping my brush a little damp, and I'm just coming back through. And as long as you have your brush damp, you can get it to move. How about that? Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to take my round brush and wet my brush, and I'm just going to see what I can do here. There. There. And if you have any gold metallic, you could have used that here, or you can just, here it is. Here's my little chickadee, my wet liner brush, a little bit on my hands, and I'm just going to very lightly put a few streaks of gold in her hair. And if you have a wisp, let me wipe that off. You can put a little bit on your wisp brush. Very lightly, just do a zigzag. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So I think we have her painted. And it is time now to put some color on her. Glass, beads, and resin. I'm going to add a few little things here that I think really just make this canvas pop. And so you can use a butter knife. I'm using a palette knife. And what I've done is I've just put a little bit of this orange on a plate and I just wiped through it. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot on there. But look what it makes this do. It just adds that little pop of color. And I'm going to put a little bit right here. And maybe just a little bit more. Just a touch. And that just really just sets it off. So, I mean, you know, a butter knife will be fine, the back of a credit card, just anything that is flat, you know, like this, so that you can go in and add that touch of orange to it, and it just really does make it pop. So I'm going to do this also right here with the white, but I want to make sure, you know, that that little palette knife is clean. So I've got a little string there. So I put a little bit of the white on this palette knife, and I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to push some on, just like that. And it just makes it pop. Just that little bit just makes it pop. And I also want to come in, let's see, this turquoise that we've been using. I'm going to come back. See if I have any of it, but I'm able to get on my knife. Just a touch of this, and I'm going to come over here. Just want to give it that little, just that little pop. All right. Wipe this off. So like I said, you don't have to use a palette knife. You can use a butter knife or a credit card or your stir stick. All of those you can use. Now, because we have this blue here, I want to put some in her hat to just make it pop. But I only want to touch. I just want to touch. So I'm taking my liner brush and I'm going to come in right here. Just want just that touch right there. Just bringing in a little added color. And I'm going to come over here to this violet pansy that we're using. Now keep in mind you can use any color purple you want. You don't have to follow my lead. And I'm going to just put just a little touch in there. And I'm going to come up here with a little bit, just carrying on these colors that we have here. And I think I'm going to just put a little bit right there. And I'm not liking this. So I got to do something here because it's just not working for me. So just get out your brush. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this purple. I'm going to mix it up with some of the white. And I'm going to come up in here. Maybe a little bit more purple. Okay, so this is where, again, there was just something about the peanut that I just didn't like. So I just flipped my brush over and it had a little bit more white on it right there. So, once you finish your painting, I find that it's a good idea to just sit back and look at it for a while, maybe even for a day. Also, if you will take a picture of whatever you're working on and then look at the picture, you can see things that you don't see when you're just looking at your canvas. It's amazing how you can see things that, oh my goodness, I'm glad I hadn't already resined it because now I see this and I'm not liking what I'm seeing, so that's how that works. There's a little bit of blue there. Let me see if I can pull. I'm going to just get some blue off of the. Want to add just a little bit in here. And I'm just tap, tap, tap. Just kind of, blending it in. No rhyme or reason where I'm putting it. I'm just letting it do its thing here. And I think I like that so much better. But as you see, I'm just tapping. And it just helps blend things together so it looks like it just came out of this little lavender purple thing I got going on here. And this looks a little dull, so let's tap this in. You can also add some water to this if you would like. Touch the water. Just kind of going back and seeing what I think I need to add in here. And I think that about has it here. Rinse my brush out. I want to come back in right here and just add a little bit more hair in there. So I'm going to come in with this, just a touch of a little bit of the yellow. Just kind of work that in. And a touch of the buttercream. Oop, that is not what I wanted to do, folks. Let's see if I can pull some of that out with a dry brush. All right, so here's a perfect example of trying to fix something. I'm going to come back in here with my liner brush. And I'm going to come with my French vanilla and just start adding that in. I'm going to come in with a touch, just a touch of the burnt umber. Like I said, just a touch. Let's see if I can get these kind of very good. And then I want to come in with my Craftsman glitter paint. Again, this color is called Champagne. You can use any color you want. The champagne, rather the gold is really pretty. Just whatever you happen to have on hand is just fine. When I'm doing darker hair, I love to put red glitter paint in. And I think I'm going to just touch the white. I'm going to wet my brush because I'm using a liner, and I'm just going to get just a touch of that, barely barely a touch of the white. And I'm just wisping it. And this girl has very straight hair. You know, I do a lot of curly hair. But I thought this time I would just do the straighter hair. All right. Okay, so I think we're now at the point where we can go ahead and we can add what we want to this canvas. So let me get you right here. So let me bring you up so you can get a good look. And I'm going to take a picture. And I want to look at it. So I have it on my screen now. So I'm looking to see if there's anything I feel like I need to change. And I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is let's put down the gold and silver. Okay, so you're going to be using Aleene's Clear Gel Tacky Glue, which you can get at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Amazon, those places. Okay, so here is your silver and gold that is mixed up here. This all came from Michael's. I don't think you can get the gold anymore, but you will have plenty. Plenty. So I am just putting it in there. Set this somewhere because I have excess. So you will have plenty of that if you decide to do another one. So I'm just lining it up. And there's a little bit right there that can go in. And you do not have to, if you are not liking this, you can use even just pure clear glass if you choose to. It is your lady, and you can choose what you want to do with her. Okay, so we've got that on. Let's see if I get this just right. A little bit more right here. Okay. Then we want to put some glass in here, and we want to put glass over here. So I'm going to outline the brim of the hat and the outside edge right here so the glass doesn't fall off. Okay. If you have a box, you received 5 ounces of glass. So it is in this bag. I don't believe you're going to need 5 ounces. We shall see. keeping in mind you want to stay above the brim. I guess I better explain that a little better. Here's the back part of the brim. This is the front. So you want to make sure you stay on the front side. And again, I always use my stir stick to add the glass. Don't add it so thick that you can't see through it. You want that to really pop. So I always like to put them on the outside and then push them in. That's my little trick. Ooh, you have so much glass here. You are not going to need this much glass. So save it and use it for something else. Making sure you stay inside your lines, because if you get outside your lines, that will be the very first thing you see, and you'll constantly see it all the time. And there's no way you can fix it once you put resin on it. Okay, so we have it there. I think I'm gonna put some more right here. Don't want that big one. And I like to just let it loosely fall in when I get toward the end. So I'm just gonna like let that come right there. And then we want to put some up here as well. So I'm going to outline this hat to about right there. And I'm just going to add this glass, letting it just kind of loosely fall. And I see where this fell into my gold, and I don't want it in my gold. And I don't want that big one. There's another big one, don't want that. Put a few right there. So again, I am bringing it to the outside edge so that I can push it in the way I want it. It does make a difference. So I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to just put it right there. I just want it to kind of go out a little bit. And then we want some right here on this bottom part of the brim. I guess you would call that the brim, would you? Now the other one that I didn't bring it up to the top. of the brim. I'm going to bring it up to the top on this one. Come on, there, there. I have so much glass left. Can't believe it. Keep in mind, you've got to make sure you don't get it out from that brim. Okay. Making sure that it's not on the outside. Let's see if I can get this one in. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, so we've got this in. Now, the only other thing we need to do is this. We have so much clear. The red will show up on here. So let's just cover. And we're going to put, and again, don't make it heavy because you want this red to show through. So I'm putting my finger right up here at this edge to catch it. Catch the glass, that is. And let's see here. Don't particularly, I want the little glass on here. And flip that one down. And slide this one over to get in there. Making sure that I'm not coming out from my dress. One little tidbit right there. So you have quite a bit of glass left. So save that for something else. Now I'm just looking over, and the first thing I see is I have not signed my piece of art. So please don't forget to do that. You can use many different types of pens. Jelly roll pens are really good to use for signing. I'm going to use the Deco Color Liquid Gold. And I'm just going to come up right here. And just get my name on there. Okay, so I think we are good to go. At this point, you want to make sure that your canvas is really clean. So give it a little brush because you don't want any little pieces of glass or dust on your canvas. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the resin. So you have, if you got a kit, you have 1 ounce of hardener and 1 ounce of resin. And you want to put them in the little cup and put on your gloves. You do not want this on your hands. And you want to stir it slowly for 3 full minutes. Don't do it 2.5 minutes. Do it 3 full minutes. It's what it takes to activate it. But stir slowly so that you don't have a whole bunch of bubbles. So I'm going to speed this up so that we can get I found a couple of places as I was stirring that I thought, I think I need a little glass there. Okay, so when you're stirring your resin, you want to make sure you scrape your sides and the bottom as well. So now when I put resin on, you don't want to pour it on. You want to bring it up and just go back and forth, letting just those little streams go in. And you'll find that they start spreading. So I always do my glass first to see where it's going to spread to, because that helps save on your resin also. So I'm just very slowly, I start at the top and I just kind of work my way down. And if you will drizzle like I'm doing, you will have plenty of resin. Then you can go back and evaluate. You want to get down and look from every possible angle to make sure you haven't missed a spot. Because if you've missed a spot, that's what you'll see all the time. And then you can't just put a little resin after it's dried. Put a little resin on that spot. It won't work. You have to resin the whole piece again, but you don't have to resin the glass. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this little top to her dress. And as it melts in, you'll notice that all of a sudden the glass kind of fades into just clear so that you can see your dress and your hat Okay, so now let me point out, see how this is spread through here and it's spread through there? So that's good. You've got extra in there. So I'm just kind of drizzling on and kind of moving it around. You want to get plenty on. You just don't want to overdo it. So I'm just doing this hat, making sure everything is covered. And she's starting to come to life, isn't she? Yeah, she is going to be beautiful. I just work my way down as I go. I find it's easier once you have done your, put your glass on, put your resin on your glass first, and then you come back and you start working down. The one thing I forgot to do, and it's really important, is when you put your piece of art on whatever you're putting it on, to raise it, you make sure it's level. So you need a level. And I have come in here and I have set this on this piece of styrofoam, which is a no-no. So I'm going to have to pick it up once I get this on and put it on some risers. And I hope that it is just fine. And I'm going to have plenty of resin left over. I'll tell you how much I have here in just a minute. Okay, I have a quarter of an ounce left. So that should be enough for you. I'm going to go on and torch this. You can either use a torch or a heat gun. If you don't have those, try a hair dryer. And I'm afraid, do I have that one? Let me look. I want to make sure you've got everything covered. Just take a dot there. Dot there. So go over the entire thing. I can't believe I having to do this. All right, so I'm taking it off of here. Moving this piece of styrofoam that it should never have been on. And on my table, I always have to have something extra to help get it to the level point. So I pretty much know where that is. So I'm just going to put it on there. All right. So I'm going to make sure that everything, I'm going to look around here at it. And I'm going to look to see if there are any hairs, any flecks, anything. I don't see anything on here. That's wonderful. But if you do, you need to get a little stick, like a skewer. Use a skewer. See a skewer. Let me do this again. Do not get your fire too close, and you want to keep it moving at all times. If you stop on something, you will burn it. Okay. So you want to use a skewer stick if, let's see if this helps. Oh, let me turn this light on. Maybe that helps so that you can see it better. There she is. So you'd want to use a skewer stick if you see anything. Now I saw a couple of little white spots. So sometimes you get those, and when you do, you want to make sure you just touch them so that they don't repeat. And I think she's done. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on my hand, and I want to do my sides. So this is, you do not have to do your sides. This is just optional. But what I do is I take my hands, I put a little on my hands. You don't want much. And I keep rubbing it till I see that it covers the canvas on the sides. Then you want to put a cover over it and set your timer for 45 minutes. And then when the 45 minutes is up, you want to come back and look. Wipe your sides with a paper towel and take your stir stick that you have wiped off and go underneath, getting any little droplets that may be there. So if you're very sparingly with your resin, you may not have any droplets, which is a good thing. But double check a couple of times to make sure you don't have any debris on your canvas. I think she turned out absolutely fabulous. You don't have to use the colors that I used. You can use any color you want. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you know of anybody who would like to have this box, reach out to me and I will make that happen for you. This would make a great Christmas gift to someone. And as you see, the tutorial is fairly easy and very easy to follow. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. So I am taking this paper towel, I folded it in half, and I wrapped it across my finger. And I'm just wiping, and you can see there's excess right there. So I'm going to move it down a little bit, and I'm going to wipe that side. Coming around, there was a fair amount on that one, see? And then doing the front. Come on. I'll do it again from this side. I think my stir stick fell out. Okay, so I'm just giving it another double look. See if I see anything. And I don't. Just want to touch this right here. Okay. And I see some oozing down here. So that is why it's very important to come back and look at it again. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I appreciate you being a part of this. I love you all dearly. And tell your friends. See if they want to join our group as well. Merry Christmas.